Hello?
Hello.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thank you for holding out today. I know it's end of a lot of information overload. Really appreciate you being with us, Jonathan. Just really quick intro, I'm Ruby Suave. I'm head of influence marketing at Student Beans, Pion. And yeah, we create Gen Z marketing campaigns, primarily on TikTok, who we partner with regularly to win Gen Z for our brands. Really happy to meet with yourself. And do you want to give us a quick intro into who you are?
Yeah, sure. Hope everyone's doing okay. Sorry I was a little bit late. It was crazy traffic in London. But yeah, my name's Jonathan. I lead creator brands partnerships at TikTok Shop. So we're especially dedicated at onboarding celebrity creator-founded brands onto TikTok Shop here in the UK. I've been at TikTok Shop for over 2 years, previously leading our agency partnerships. So working with agencies who represent talent at scale to get them onto TikTok Shop. So an OG by TikTok's terms, so hopefully I can provide some useful information for you all today.
Amazing, thank you. And yeah, I remember this time last year we were speaking with Alice, also at TikTok Shop, and you guys were about to relaunch. And I mean, it has been absolutely crazy since then. You just can't move for buying on TikTok Shop or brands wanting to be on TikTok Shop. But I thought it'd be useful just for anyone who has not been on the planet for the last year, if you could just describe what is TikTok Shop in layman's terms?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So obviously, TikTok Shop launched here in the UK just over 2.5 years ago. It was kind of the first Western market to launch, quote unquote. Obviously, we're live in the US now as well. But essentially what we are is a fully integrated solution within TikTok, right? So in technical terms, we're entirely closed loop. What that means is that somebody can discover a product on a shoppable video live stream or even in app and purchase without having to leave the app. We've optimized it so we can purchase in as little as 4 taps. Obviously, everybody's shopped on other platforms and you get clicked on a brand post and you get an overlaid Shopify site or a link in bio or a link tree. All of that does is basically decrease conversion. So we're entirely closed loop, 4 taps to check out, saves your Apple Pay or whatever card you have linked to your phone. So it's a seamless purchasing experience for the consumer, but also offers a lot of positives from the brand side as well.
Thank you for introducing that. I'm sure that everyone in the audience would love to know just some of that, special insider info and top tips of how to make that shoppable content. What can you share with us? What is the ultimate recipe for success?
Yeah, I think that the key term anytime somebody talks about TikTok is the algorithm. I think brands and creators always use that as a buzzword and it's hard to figure out. With TikTok Shop specifically, obviously there is no guaranteed recipe of success, but I think obviously from brands and creators, what does well is number one, authenticity. Obviously you look at our platform versus others that I can't name, but more curated versions of people's lives, right? Whereas TikTok is very authentic. When you're speaking to a brand, sometimes edited content from a photo shoot won't perform as well as behind the scenes content because people want to engage with what's authentic. So the biggest thing that drives success for brands on our platform is adapting to TikTok. And there's so many different parts of that. Number one is understanding your audience, your consumer, but being open to new communities and engaging with new communities, right? So follower count does not correlate with sales. So opening your eyes as a brand to, let's say, okay, traditionally you would want a UK TikTok influencer with 1 million followers, but on TikTok Shop, half of their audience might be in the US, Canada, Australia. So you might actually be better served working with a micro creator with 5,000 followers who has a super engaged micro community and audience that converts a lot of sales. So I think the biggest thing from a brand perspective is really thinking TikTok first, leaning into TikTok. That goes to content type, the way that you market, ads. We'll come on to some examples later, but you basically have every option available to you. And if you're a brand and you sell a physical product, obviously I'm biased, but there's no reason that you should not be on TikTok Shop and trying.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's one of the most common things that I see with brands that we work with. They want, the macro creator or someone with want loads of followers, but it doesn't mean the same thing that it did on other platforms in 2018, where you knew you would get 70% of that audience views, So it's engagement is consistently like the number one metric that we look for as well, and we see the best results when we look at data beyond just followers. It doesn't always get the results that you want. Cool. Okay, so it would be great to hear a bit more about Gen Z. Obviously, we've all been talking about Gen Z or Gen Alpha over the last couple of days, and we're all wanting to tap into that audience base, particularly their shopping habits on TikTok Shop. So I'd love to hear what's the most interesting Gen Z behavior that you guys are seeing right now.
Yeah, it's a good one. I actually have a slide later that I'm going to go through from a brand example, like particularly about Gen Z or a brand that was trying to tap into Gen Z. But I think the biggest thing for us is that obviously Gen Z has grown up being native to our platform, right? So for us as a platform, when we're launching product features or new updates, even when it's not just TikTok Shop, right? TikTok in general, we know that Gen Z is going to be able to adapt. So a good example is we launched our Shop tab at the end of last year. Has anybody shopped on our Shop tab before? Do you guys know what that is? Nice. Okay, one person. We gotta work on that. So Shop tab launched at the end of last year. So depending on right now, it's fully live, but depending on where you are on the A/B test, if you go onto TikTok, there's a Shop tab at the bottom, kind of by the plus sign. It's essentially an integrated marketplace, but it's fully algorithm service recommendation based, right? So my Shop tab would be very different from Ruby's based off of the content I interact with, etc. So similarly to how we've seen Gen Z's habits for, let's say, using TikTok instead of Google, for searching for restaurants when you're going on a trip, for searching for new places to discover or anything like that, we're seeing a trend in the similar direction for TikTok Shop, because whereas maybe a millennial or somebody older would be going straight to Amazon to purchase something, we're hoping that Gen Z will go to TikTok Shop to purchase things. So if you're looking for the best deal or looking for a specific product, you can now search directly on TikTok and have a product recommended to you that fits that exact product type or criteria, or potentially an alternative that you can purchase directly from our app. So we've seen, obviously moving towards digital and not so much purchasing on laptops and iPads and everything like that. But I think the biggest thing is obviously how quickly Gen Z adapts. And even kind of how Gen Z wants to be served content, I think is very important, especially when it comes to shoppable content, right? So obviously back in the day, it was like, get a big celebrity to endorse a product. Like, I work in creator brands, so obviously I still want to do that. But I think we're finding there's a lot of data coming up and showing that like Gen Z and all TikTok users really like to identify with creators who are real, right? So like smaller creators who are maybe more, I don't know, girl next door, and less so kind of, like the Molly Mays and the bigger creators in the world. They still have a place, but TikTok is where there's kind of like an even community for everybody, and then once somebody purchases, they can then review the product and turn into an advocate themselves, and that's something we as TikTok call our infinite loop, right? So you purchase and then you like the product, and then you can create content and sell it yourself. And who do you trust most? Your friends, your family, and the people around you. So it's really something that I think is only going to continue to grow as we get more brands and people on the platform.
Amazing, thank you so much. And I'd love to hear a bit more about those brands if we can. So like, which retail sectors are actually really winning with Gen Z at the moment? Are there any surprises or any obvious ones?
Yeah, so I mean, for anybody that hasn't shopped on TikTok Shop, obviously when we launched and like very quickly, the category that stood out and did best for us was obviously beauty, skincare, everything, all that, right? It also aligned with lockdown and, the different types of like get ready with me's and content types. Beauty as a format in ways that creators create content just aligns perfectly with how you sell on TikTok, but it's also price point, all that kind of stuff. So beauty continues to be our strongest vertical for sure. But the one I think that has stood out, that has done really, really well in the last, let's call it 6 to 8 months, has been health and wellness. So technically FMCG, but I'm sure if anybody here is on TikTok, you'll see greens powders, apple cider vinegar gummies, those two products by multiple different brands particularly went viral during Black Friday last year. we're talking hundreds of thousands in sales in months. And so a small brand is now like globally known because of being the trending greens powder on TikTok or apple cider vinegar gummy on TikTok. So health and wellness, I think, has seen a huge uptick. Ultimately, we want to kind of be a platform where you can get everything you would get on the high street on TikTok, right? That's our ultimate goal. But health and wellness is one where we've seen a tremendous growth. You can get vitamins, whatever you would like, on our platform. And obviously, that has seen, tremendous growth in the past 6 to 8 months.
Amazing, thank you. Yeah, I can imagine that an apple cider gummy is much more palatable than drinking the vinegar itself. So
I used to drink literally like apple cider vinegar with mother in hot water, and I can tell you gummies are way better.
Okay, I'm converted. I didn't need TikTok Shop, but I did need the reference. Thank you. Moving on to some more categories, I saw that you guys have focused a lot on pre-owned luxury fashion. How's that going? And is there any other kind of category that you predict might be the next big success story?
So pre-owned, pre-loved, whatever you want to call it, luxury fashion or just pre-owned in general has been something that's been in the works for a while and really exciting that we just were able to launch it. I've got fresh data, hot off the press. That's why I have my phone on. I'm not responding to messages right now. But yeah, we launched the pre-loved category just a few weeks ago, really. And we just got like our first kind of numbers out, so I'll share some of these with you. So in terms of demographics so far of what we've been seeing, 28% of shoppers are Gen Z and 53% are millennials. In terms of how that breaks down revenue-wise, 16% of that revenue is contributed by Gen Z, and 16% from Gen Z and 63% from millennials. So obviously, millennials, a little bit further on in their careers, maybe a little bit more disposable income, that's not a surprise. But for me, 28% of shoppers being Gen Z, 16% of revenue is fairly significant for a higher priced category. And then what also is interesting is 20% of the revenue is from new users, right? So we as a platform are always trying to acquire new users because we're still new in the UK. We still have to educate people on how to shop on TikTok Shop, which is why when I'm speaking with brands or creators, a call to action is integral, right? Because if somebody's never purchased on TikTok Shop, sure, the link is there, but they don't know that you can click on that and go straight through to purchase. So, we have vouchers available for new users and new first-time purchasers. So for example, if Ruby's never purchased on TikTok Shop before, she goes on right now and buys something, she'll get a voucher subsidized by us, TikTok as a platform, to incentivize purchase, and then she can hopefully have a really seamless experience and purchase again. And then this is probably not a surprise, but demographics, 81% female, but that's a given.
Sense. Yeah, and I would just expect that number to grow on the Gen Z side. Our insights at Pine, we just so frequently see that sustainability and pre-loved is so important for this generation. And if not buying that, and when they can't afford that, the brands they purchase from have to be committed to sustainability. So I can imagine that audience sector is just going to grow.
And to be honest, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like even the high street brands prices are getting crazy. So pre-loved versus a bag at Zara now is 190 pounds. I'm I might as well just buy something designer that's pre-loved, but yeah, that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah, sorry if Zara's in the room. We still love you. I'm joking.
Yeah, we're big fans, actually.
Cool. Okay, so we have a few slides from you guys, which is really exciting. So first off, we're going to chat about some product updates direct from the source. What is it that we need to watch out for? What's coming up?
Yeah, product's always not the sexiest thing, but hopefully this can inspire some hope for you. Sorry, I guess I'm in the way of most of this. I might just get up. So, these are kind of some of the things we have in the pipeline or have already launched so far in 2024. Obviously, with being an app, things change very, very quickly. So, we have to kind of be able to deal with that. But the first one I'll talk about is our TikTok Shop and Shopify 1P integration. So that's a direct integration with Shopify, which has already launched and is live. Obviously, the benefits of that being is anybody who has a brand who has a Shopify store, you can basically set up your seller center, which is your registration for TikTok Shop. And if you have a Shopify site, integrate within minutes and seconds, and that's a live integration. So essentially, as a brand, if an order is purchased on TikTok Shop, that'll flow directly through to your Shopify site, which means you don't have to split stock Obviously, fulfillment and all those kind of more boring things are much easier. So that has been a huge game changer for us in terms of being able to onboard brands and get them onboarded and active quickly. The one to the left of that, again, sorry, they're not in order. TikTok Shop CRM engagement tool. So we're hoping to launch this at some point this year. This will help with a lot of brands want to know how can they retarget, how can they get data. Obviously, we can't give you the data and take it off platform. So it's important that you're able to do that in-app. So retargeting different things like abandoned basket and being able to kind of retarget that consumer who didn't fulfill a purchase. So that I think is going to be a massive opportunity. There's so much like low-hanging fruit when it comes to converting sales for brands. The next one is search optimization and insights in-app. This is currently in beta testing. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you as a brand obviously will have access to different insights, or even as a creator, you have access to insights. We even have created our own like TikTok Seller Center app. So if you're running a brand, you can run it from a mobile app on your phone. Common misconception, you need a lot of resource to onboard onto TikTok Shop. I hear that a lot with brands. They're like, we don't have capacity, it's just not a priority. And I'm like, you can literally, one person can run your entire TikTok Shop. It does not require 15 team members. If you have a really lean operation, small team, a lot of our top selling brands are basically small, medium-sized businesses that have become global brands because of TikTok Shop. So if that's a blocker, just try it out. Shop tab integrated marketplace, this is what I spoke about earlier. This is fully live. So as mentioned, algorithm recommendation-based shop tab. And so this has seen tremendous growth for us. So as a brand, obviously there's multiple ways in which you can incentivize purchasing. You can use short videos, so short form video content with shoppable links through your own brand handle and through creators. You can go live from your own brand handle or through creators. And the next big one is Shop Tab, which as mentioned, we launched in December of last year. But for certain product categories like FMCG, some brands are now having 50% of their revenue driven through Shop Tab, which means it's basically like free money because you're not creating content around it, but because your product is trending, people go to Shop Tab, they get served it as a recommendation, and you're just getting sales without paying commission to creators, etc. And then the last one is European expansion. So we are looking to expand into a few markets this year, TBD on that. But I believe the first one will be Spain.
Amazing. And then I think we've only got 2 minutes before we open up for questions. So can we just have a very quick overview of someone doing it well?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Cool. ASOS. So I think this was a big coup for us to finally have ASOS work on our platform. They're obviously a really, really big name, and it took a lot of time, effort, manpower to get into that. But the biggest thing for ASOS is obviously their target audience is what they would define as 20-somethings. But what ASOS realized is that their audience was aging. And so they wanted, and we kind of sat down with them, like, what is a mutual goal that we could arrive at? And theirs was acquiring younger audience, so specifically Gen Z. So we built out a plan, and it was a very controlled launch where we worked with 30 TikTok Shop creators, 30 ASOS creators, and launched with a specific subset of ASOS design products. And that launch went really well, and then ultimately they opened it up to open plan, which means that any creator who has e-commerce access can feature their products in their content. But during that phase, some of the key stats was they were able to acquire 57% new customer acquisition, and 45% of that was aged 18 to 24, which was huge for them. They need to essentially refill their customer base with a younger audience. So yeah, that's just, I think, something really exciting to share from a brand that I would assume everybody knows about.
Amazing. And can't the people who are creating content for it be paid on an affiliate basis, so you don't have to pay that upfront fee? Is that correct in the second phase?
It's a mix. So within TikTok, we have a creator ecosystem, star creators all the way down to like rising stars. So depending on the creators they picked, some would be on a pure affiliate commission base, some would be a flat fee. It really depends.
So it can be a really cost-effective e-com strategy.
There's very cost-effective ways for any brand to do it, yeah.
Amazing, thank you. So do we have some time for some questions? Great, put your hands up over there.
Oh, 3 questions, let's go.
Oh, we'll come to you next, sir, don't worry.
I can hear you. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. But, wait, yeah, it's on. Okay. Hi, it's a really interesting presentation. Thank you so much for coming. I think my question, as a very old person, it turns out I am, is regarding the trust on the TikTok shop, and especially what kind of value of product. So for product minus 100 euros or 100 pounds, I would say TikTok user would trust it. What about products that are 600 pounds, 1,000 pounds? What's the trend at the moment?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So something we've been trying to work on is obviously onboarding more like luxury sellers and products that are a higher price point. As an example, I onboarded Victoria Beckham, and she did like a exclusive T-shirt around the Beckham documentary that said, "My dad had a Rolls Royce." That T-shirt listed at 100 pounds. It was a T-shirt that's quite expensive, right? But it did really well, sold out, went viral. That's like a great opportunity moment that they captured. But depending on product categories, so like in technology, for example, air fryers, coffee machines, robotic vacuums, we have significant case studies and data where people are selling and creators are selling 200, 300, 400 pound items. So the trust is there. It depends on obviously working with the right creator. If you're a brand developing that trust yourself, what does that look like? Being available on TikTok Shop, creating consistent content across short video, live stream, shop tab, and obviously being a reputable brand, right? So like, for example, in beauty, we have Charlotte Tilbury selling through Charlotte Tilbury, but we also have Look Fantastic selling Charlotte Tilbury, right? So if you're somebody that's looking to purchase, obviously always lean towards like the more recognized brands, because there are quite a few resellers, which obviously we're trying to control. But yeah, just be cognizant of that, be smart. Obviously you see reviews and everything like that. But something we're always conscious of and trying to grow is obviously building that trust. But, you know, pre-love luxury fashion has started to do really well. We've worked with some luxury brands in the fashion space. People are like interested in it for sure. All the brands are interested. So I think it's only going to continue to grow in the next few months.
Thank you. And then the gentleman over here in the corner was next, I believe, in the suit.
Hi, hi everybody. My name is Austin. Obviously, I've seen TikTok is amongst my circle in Gen Z space. It's massive. I see so many creators making so much money on it. I see people change their lives. I think it's a really powerful tool. I've got a really short question though. Is there any room in the event space? So, is there any room in the future? Any plans where TikTok will then allow you to sell tickets to events through TikTok Shop? I'm not sure if you've done it already. Is that in the plan? Because I'd love to leverage that.
Okay, thank you. You said you'd love to event. You'd love to just part.
Yeah, so if you could sell tickets through TikTok Shop.
Oh, okay. I get your question much better now. It's something I've asked for a long time. There's a long list of things that we've not tapped into yet. For me, at the top of that list would be subscriptions, whether that's digital subscriptions, app subscriptions, event tickets, live events, all that kind of stuff. Even like stream keys to like video games. There's a long list of things that we still have not tapped into. To be completely honest with you, the focus is currently physical products, and there's so much more room for growth in so many brands that we don't yet work with. But it's definitely something that I know we would like to do eventually. In terms of roadmap and when that actually is eventualized, I can't speak to that unfortunately, but it's a great idea and something I've mentioned multiple times, so I'll mention it again.
James, thank you.
No worries. I think nice, lots of questions, guys. I'm happy.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I'm Edgero from Voxy Mobile, and I'm in the brand department. So one of our biggest challenges actually is TikTok, but I'm curious because a lot of the focus has been on retail brand, but what about telco brands in the shop? What would your suggestions be on how to market that? You're selling effectively SIM cards, right?
Okay, that was going to be my question. I'm from Canada, so I don't know all of the different brands. So I was going to be, are you selling phones or SIM cards?
So we're part of Vodafone, sub-brand, but Gen Z focused, Foxy.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, like, I don't know if we can sell SIM cards. I would assume maybe we could. I don't know. I'll actually need to find that out. But what I would say is that, obviously I work for TikTok Shop, but I work for TikTok, right? So just because you can't sell on TikTok TikTok Shop doesn't mean you can't leverage the wider TikTok. So regardless of if you're a brand that sells a physical product or not, and maybe that is not able to be sold currently, It may be in the future, but there is no better time to start with your TikTok presence than now. So obviously running ads, we have a great GBS ads team that helps brands to kind of penetrate in terms of different types of conversions. So definitely look into that in terms of ads. Usually that requires like minimum spend and everything like that. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Have time for any more?
Somebody right here. One more? Okay, cool.
Last one.
Hey, hi. I'm Ray from the Social Diary. I did a talk earlier actually around search, so I'm very interested in how search is working on platforms like TikTok right now. And you mentioned their search insights for TikTok Shop. Now, what I'm interested in is how right now are you ranking things within the shop in terms of, say, if someone optimizes their new product that's within that list, what makes you show up number one? What are the metrics that you focus on? And then also, just double question here, the insights that you spoke about, what insights will we get access to? What kind of features from search?
Cool, thanks for the question. I'll answer this in a couple different types. In terms of a brand, and if you're setting up from the brand side and you want to be search optimized, we've made it as easy as possible for you. I do this daily with brands. When you set up as a brand and you have Seller Center, and this is where you have access to affiliate, it's where you upload your products, it's where you have customer service, all that kind of stuff. We literally have an API integrated, ChatGPT kind of, called Product Optimizer. So I create a listing, let's say it's this bottle of water by Buxton, blah, blah, blah. We literally will help you, the AI will recommend product characters, how many characters need to go in the title listing, how many go into the description, minimum 5 photos. If you add a video, it's more recommendable, SEO. So we literally do that for you, and if you optimize that, your odds of being featured on a shop tab are higher. So like I literally will go to a brand and be like, optimize your product listings, they see an uplift in sales immediately. So it's a really easy win, and it's a really we've made it as simple as possible. In terms of kind of search-based, this becomes a little bit more complicated. Reviews have a huge bearing. Delivery time has a huge bearing. As a shop, when you set up, we have something called shop health. If you have a late dispatch rate and you have a negative review, that affects your recommendation, it affects the algorithm. So it's keeping on top of everything. And then the other major thing is content, right? So if you're not creating content yourself, if you don't have creators creating content for you, you're not going to be served as much, right? Algorithm needs to learn that you as a brand are creating shoppable content. So if a brand's been only doing organic content for 5 months and you just start doing one shoppable video a month, the algorithm is not going to recognize that you are selling something, because there are other brands that are posting 2 videos per day, 1 video per day. Algorithm is based off of frequency, cadence, all that kind of stuff. So even when I'm talking to a creator, if you can go live every Wednesday at the same time, then the algorithm recognizes that and they get served to your community. So it's very important that there's consistency of content, but also if you're a brand and you have, let's say, a higher price point item, somebody that sees one short video is not going to make an impulse purchase based on 500 pounds, right? That's just not going to happen. But if they see 4 pieces of content plus shop tab plus a live stream, it's like anything, multiple points of contact will then help be like, oh, I get served the same ads on Instagram all the time. And I'm like, okay, the 8th time, I'll click in and look what that looks like. So I hope that answers your question. In terms of data you have available to you, your Seller Center has a lot of information in the back. The back end of it, as mentioned, we're working on, even more in terms of retargeting and things you can offer like that. So it's only going to become, easier, and you're only going to get more information.
Thank you.
Amazing. So I don't know what we'll be talking about next year, but I'm sure there'll be a lot more
There'll be
to
a lot
say.
to talk about next year.
Yeah, the growth is going to be undeniable. So yeah, really, really great to meet you. And thank you so much for joining us. I know that it's been a really busy day. And thank you to the audience for staying with us and for your amazing questions. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks.